All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back to the Fortinet Secure SD-WAN series. In the last video, we did the IPsec tunnels and confirmed reachability over the tunnel addresses from site to site. I wanted to do a quick housekeeping item. I had a setting inside of the VPN that I was unclear of, and I know it has to do with the ADVPN. So let's just check a spoke. So in this case, we're on firewall 2 under advanced here. So VPN, IPsec, edit, advanced. So I went ahead and mimicked all the settings for firewall 2 on firewall 1, like I said, just updated the IPs and all that stuff. And in the process, I believe these are the correct settings to have from the spoke side. So we're going to tweak the settings on firewall 2 to match. Okay, so what we're looking for is the lab firewall 1 and 2 to have the same settings for, the add route disabled, discovery sender disabled, discovery receiver enabled, exchange interface IP disabled, and device creation enabled. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to save that. And then the other thing that when I did firewall 1, I thought it was kind of cool and I wanted to point it out. So I adjusted the local ID of the tunnels, each tunnel on both spokes. So if I come back in here, sorry, it's under phase 1 proposal. So you can set, since the hub is accepting any peer ID is how we have it set on the hub, this can essentially be whatever you want it to be. Okay, so the local ID in this particular lab environment, it could be hello friends, it doesn't really matter. So what I did was I gave it the firewall name and then the underlay, whether it's INET or MPLS. So what that does is when we come over to the hub firewall and we go to our IPsec monitor, check it out. So the peer ID, now you can see a descriptive peer ID of exactly the device and what transport it's using. And we see that all 4 tunnels are now in place. So as you can see, firewall 1 has been configured. And we now know that, based on, we know the .11 is router 1 and we know .12 is, I keep saying router, firewall 1 and firewall 2. But now we have the name to go along with them. So kind of cool. Anyway. Enough of that. We're going to get on to the BGP configuration. So we'll start at the hub. And what we're going to do is, based on the topology, we said that we're going to use Border Gateway Protocol autonomous system number 65,000. Okay. We already have the tunnel ranges kind of defined. So they're actually going to be our BGP peer ranges and peer group as well. So what I mean by that is if we go to the hub and we're going to go to network BGP, so we can see that BGP is not configured. Okay. By the way, wherever you are in the graphical interface, there's usually an edit and CLI kind of link or button. If you press that, it'll actually take you to the BGP portion of the CLI. So you can see if I end out, it takes me back to the main prompt, and then I would have to go config router BGP to kind of get back into it. But it's kind of cool. It's nice to learn how to navigate the CLI, and it's nice that they put that there. So local AS is 65,000. For the router ID, we'll just use, based on our topology, we'll use 10.0.0.1 for the data center. We'll use 10.1.1 and 10.2.2.1 for sites 1 and 2 respectively. So 10.0.0.1 for this guy. So for neighbors, we're not statically assigning our neighbors from the hub perspective, right? We want the hub to dynamically peer with its spokes. So we're going to create a group and range, and groups and ranges instead. On the spoke side, we'll actually define two static neighbors, which will be the hub internet and hub MPLS. But in the from the hub's perspective, we're going to do a group and a range. So let's create a new group, and we're going to call it branch inet. Okay. We know that they are also going to be in 65,000, and obviously it's going to use the new tunnel interface, IPsec tunnel, that we created in the last video. This activates the IPv4 address family, so we'll go ahead and we'll leave that on. We're going to tell the spokes that they're route reflector clients, because remember, anytime you have a hub and spoke and it's iBGP, you're talking route reflectors. So we're going to say route reflector, soft reconfiguration, we'll do graceful restart, and we'll say next hop self. Okay, so let's go ahead and okay that. Let's create another group called branch MPLS. All right, it's exactly the same thing, except it's going to be the MPLS tunnel. Okay, so what this does is this defines the two groups and their remote autonomous system number and the interface in which the BGP messages will come in over. Now for the neighbor ranges, we're going to do something similar. So for branch inet, you can see once I created that group, it now shows up in the drop down menu. So we'll say branch inet, and inet was 164.0 dot. Okay, 164.0 dot. We could match, since it's saying a valid IP/netmask, we'll basically say 0/24. Okay, so this is just going to engulf the entire range that we kind of preserved for the branch internet tunnels. All right, so we'll okay that. Now we have to do the same thing for the MPLS. So we select MPLS and we say 164.1.0/24. All right, so that's good. Now the ranges, we got the ranges, we got the group, and we're going to at some point have to advertise some networks. Right now, we really haven't addressed the LAN side of any of the sites, including the data center. So we'll come back to that. Let's just get the peerings kind of staged and ready to go. So do not forget to press apply. So let's press apply. All right, we see the settings were saved successfully. So if we click out and in, we should see everything sticks. Okay. So we're not doing any redistribution. We're not really looking at any advanced features. None of that's happening. Quite frankly, might not in this particular lab. So let's go to, we'll continue our focus on firewall 2. So if we come to firewall 2 and we go to network BGP, we can see nothing's there. So we'll say 65,000, right? This was 10.221, we said. Now in this case, we're actually going to define the neighbors, okay? So we're going to create a neighbor, and we're going to specify the IP address of the neighbor. And the first one is 0.1, right, which we know is the internet hub router. It's the hub firewall, I keep saying router, the hub firewall internet side, right? 65,000. So local AS, don't be confused by this. So this is if you're running a different AS number. So if I entered over here on the left, it's grayed out at this point. But if I entered a different autonomous system number here, I can fake it out. This is the equivalent of on a Cisco router, you can do neighbor blah 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 local AS something different than what I'm running. That's that local AS. So you just leave this blank. We're not doing passwords, okay? We didn't do, this isn't password secure BGP, we're just no password. We'll do soft configuration, we'll do graceful restart, all right? And I mean, that should really be, I guess we could do, nah, we'll leave it at that. That's fine. Okay, so he saved. Let's add the second one. 1.1, right? 65,000. No password. And we'll OK him. And don't forget to hit apply. Did we? I think we did do. You know what? Let's advertise, since we're on firewall 2, right? Let's advertise 10.220/24. Let's go ahead and do that. So we'll put that network in there. 10.220/24. Okay. Perfect. All right, now let's go back to the hub. And let's go to our dashboard and let's add a monitor. So under network, we can add a routing monitor. So let's go ahead and add that. So you can see it's there, it gives you an option here. So under the option, you can just put in static dynamic. You can do BGP neighbors. Let's go ahead and see what BGP neighbors looks like. And if we come back to dashboard, routing monitor. Okay, cool. So check that out. So we can now see that we have some neighbors. Perfect. So that is indicative of BGP working. So let's do this now. Let's go to static and dynamic routes and let's see what we've got. So check it out. So because I had staged route firewall 1, so that's why we're learning the 10.1.1.0. So 10.2.2.0 is the network we just pumped into firewall 2 right here with the network statement. And now we can see that we are in fact learning that as a BGP route. It gives us our AD and it tells us we learned it over the internet tunnel. So this is what it looks like from the monitor standpoint of the graphical interface. Let's open the command line and let's do get router info BGP summary. So this is the first command you'll typically run, which is like show IP BGP summary in iOS. It's the same exact command. You'll see the output's like almost identical. But this is kind of the command that we all know and love. If you've come from a Cisco background, it'll tell you your neighbors. So in this case, we have our 4 neighbors. We can see their AS. We got the in queue, out queue, and we can see the uptime. We've been up for 1 minute and 45 seconds, and we can see we've learned 1 prefix from all of these neighbors. So that's a great verification to know if your neighbors are up, down, whatever. If you do get router info BGP, let's hit the question mark this time. So we can see that we can look at things like network, neighbors. Okay, we just ran summary. So let's do get router info BGP and we'll do network. And we can put a prefix in here. So let's do 10.1.1.0/24. So now we're kind of honing in on the specifics of a prefix. All right. So in this case, 10.1.1.0/24. We can see that we have 2 available paths. It marked number 1 as best, which in our case is here, right? And that is over the 164.0.11. So, and we'll check it out. Received from a route reflector client. So this is pretty cool, right? We can start to kind of do some verification on the BGP routing table as we grow the table in size and we bolt on more spokes, right? What was the other one I wanted to? Sometimes the parser gets kind of messed up. neighbor, and then you can actually hone in on a neighbor too. So let's scroll up and grab a neighbor. So let's copy and paste him. So check it out. So you've got the same kind of look and feel as iOS, right? Like we can say received routes. So that's kind of cool. So now we have some more commands in our arsenal that we can try to hone in on troubleshooting, right? Are we learning the route from that neighbor? Are we advertising that route to the neighbor, right? So some nice commands to have at our disposal. So we can see advertise routes. We can see that too. So kind of cool. So at this point, again, these videos are definitely quicker than my last series. Last series, I had some videos that were 40 minutes long. So we're just kind of breaking this up. We're going to be looking at jumping into the actual SD-WAN portion in the next video at this point. So we've established our underlay routing. We've established our IPsec VPN tunnels, which allowed us to do our BGP peerings. And now we are finally ready to start to bring in the SD-WAN aspect of all of this. So I will see you guys on the next video.